Hi, welcome to the Pier 54 podcast.
I'm Amanda Kimmel.
And I'm Shannon Coach, and we are your hosts.
Hi, welcome to the weekly recap of General Hospital from April 1st through April 5th. This week, we are actually going to break up into two different sections because as it happens sometimes, given certain circumstances, they actually went off the regular storyline and did a special episode. This week's was dedicated to the 56th anniversary, so we thought that we would get started talking about that and then do our weekly recap of the regular storyline. Does that work, Amanda?
Works, perfect.
Awesome. Okay, so what was your favorite part of the anniversary episode?
I love all the flashbacks, seeing them all so much younger.
Yes.
And I was impressed with the way that they did it a couple months ago when they said Gail would give more information later. Mm-hmm. It did not occur to me that that was what they were saving it for. So I loved that it all connected and brought all those people together.
Me too. It didn't make sense. You
know,
I was just like, all right, they need to, as it is with when people die and they need to go through the will and everything, sometimes that stuff takes time. So
right.
It didn't occur to me. And bravo to the writers for that quick thinking too, because one thing that I give them a lot of credit for is that when an actor passes away, they do have the character pass away,
Mm-hmm.
Lila, Edward, Lady Jane.
Right.
And they bring that into, sure, Jocelyn probably wasn't expecting to go to Australia, but she gets a quick trip to say
say goodbye to Grandma.
Poor Scotty, though, lost both of his parents in the same year.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy. But I think he's handling it appropriately. I think they're showing the proper level of grief that I would imagine he would show.
Yeah.
And I think it's nice that they're showing those connections with Laura and the older characters, with Lucy and all that, of where it all started. Kind of explaining how we got to today.
And, Leslie and
Monica going right back at it.
Oh my gosh.
That was so funny. I forgot that they had hated each other so much because it was in the first 2 seconds that Monica said something to Leslie and she made that smart remark and this face and I was like, oh, catfight with these old ladies. What the heck?
I was like, what is this? And then they said Rick. I was like, oh that's right.
Yes.
Yeah. Because we weren't around with
right
that. So,
but they recapped it nicely because they said we
Yeah.
both ended up with who we were supposed to and all
Yeah.
that, so it ended nicely. But that first glare between the two of them, I was like, what the heck?
Right.
So
and I loved when they went to the dresses and everything. I was like, Amanda's gonna be so happy because she said that
and she
Lucy's dresses.
each year she was like this one and then this one, and it was nice that they found Alan's pocket square that way too,
so
to bring him back in.
Have you ever seen the Rodgers and Hammerstein Cinderella that they were referencing?
No.
Okay. It's awesome. It was on Disney when we were younger.
Okay.
And it's Leslie Ann Warren and Stuart Damon as Prince Charming.
Okay.
And it's funny because when Lucy said, when he sang that song from Cinderella at the nurses' ball, and I was like, they tied it in. And I don't know if, I think I remember him performing that because I think that was when I was watching it and I was thinking, he really looks familiar. What else have I seen him in? And then I think that nurse's ball when he sang it, I was like, oh, he's Prince Charming because he was much younger. And as it happens when you get older and more distinguished and fuller, you don't necessarily look instantly recognizable as you did younger. So, but I love that. And that was, and having all the pictures on the wall, Nurse Jessie and Steve Hardy and all of them there, it was awesome.
It was.
I really liked it.
And I liked the way that they acknowledged how much the hospital has changed.
Yes.
Whenever they went into the one room and Elizabeth was like, isn't this where the locked cabinet was? And I was like, yes, it is. That's what it was. And Maxie with, there used to be vending machines here. I was like, yes, there did. See? Yep. So that was awesome to, I know it's changed, but you don't realize it on a day-to-day basis. So referencing that, I was like, yes, I'm glad that we went back to that.
Yeah. I do have to say, if we go through this Lucy Doc thing again, I might scream. And interesting one, it's one of the few instances where they did tie in the ongoing storyline and the current storyline and that episode. And that was just, I was like, no, no.
Mm-mm.
It's Luke and Laura are done. Lucy and Kevin are done.
Right.
We're not.
I don't like how desperate they're making her with that either. It seems
Lucy?
like, yes, like, she's supposed
She
to be
always
a
is, 'cause
strong...
She was with Scotty, too, remember?
I know, but it seems like as she's gotten older, they have tried to make her this strong, independent person. She ran the cosmetic company. She's doing real estate. She wrote that book. Like, she has aged out of that.
Book was weird.
Oh, that book
That
was
was a
weird.
weird
That book was
storyline.
weird, and they dress her weird because I could not stop looking at her knee-high boots in court. Like, you are a woman of age, and you would not wear those, especially to court. Not that she didn't look hot in it, because she's beautiful,
Yeah.
but it was not appropriate for the age that she should be.
I'm going to check and see if that book is actually for real for sale.
Oh my gosh, yes, we will
Lucy
have to
Coe,
buy that
Port
if so.
Charles book.
Like they did with Robin's Diary. That was the best ever.
I still haven't read that.
I will pull out my copy for you because
Oh
I
my
didn't.
gosh,
I have
wait.
it. Is it for real?
It's actually for real.
Oh my god.
It's oh my gosh, it's a bit. Okay. It's on Amazon.
Yes.
I'm gonna buy it.
We're gonna have to buy that.
My husband's gonna be like, "Why are you buying more from Amazon?" Sorry. Oh my gosh, we're so buying
This is awesome.
Okay. Guys, by the time you're listening to this episode, because of Prime, I'm gonna have the traveling guide to Port Charles.
Oh my gosh.
This is awesome. We'll have to do a special episode
Yes,
dedicated to this.
yes.
Okay.
I will order my copy when I get home.
Okay.
Um,
So it just occurred to me that
no,
that actually might be a real book.
I didn't think of that. That's awesome. I can't wait. Because the book a million years ago for Robin's Diary was amazing. So if they did half as good a job with that, it's going to be awesome.
Oh my gosh. Robin's Diary is on Amazon too. I'm not going to buy that too.
I have that. I promise. I will
Okay,
dig it
I'll
out of
borrow
my
it.
basement
Okay.
and you can't.
Awesome.
But anyway, they have developed her into this strong, independent woman, as she should be, especially at her age. And then as soon as she gets around those two men, she just loses it all. She's strong with
Right.
every other man that she interacts with. Like, she doesn't take bullshit in the
Right.
business world or anything like that. The second that she gets around Scott or Kevin, she's like, oh my gosh, okay, yeah, do whatever you want. And it's disgusting. I don't feel like...
Don't we all have that though? We all have that one person. She just happens to have two that.
Not when they're married to someone else.
Very
and
true.
not
Very,
when...
very, very
I mean,
true.
I understand, you know, your first love or your first, like, true adult relationship. Yes, you do always have
that fondness.
that connection there that other people may question. So I'm not questioning their friendship. I'm just questioning the way... I mean, Kevin flat out said to her, like, Lucy, I don't want you getting any bad
Right,
ideas.
right.
We're not going here.
I still love Laura.
And that would be embarrassing to me if my first love turned to me and was like, hey, just so you remember, I'm married and I'm not going to hook
Right.
up with you.
Even though
I
I'm
would
technically
die.
divorced right now doesn't mean that I'm actually.
They're not technically divorced right now.
Oh no, they're not.
They're not technically divorced right now.
Oh, that's right.
And even if they were technically divorced, it's still, like,
It's not. It's
the
a
relationship was right there.
technicality,
Even
not-
if the relationship had ended, it ended, what, a week and a half ago? Like, come on, you're not jumping
Right.
into bed. Even in soap world, if it was a meaningful marriage, you're not jumping into bed with someone else. And Lucy should think better of herself. Even if she wanted to pursue a relationship with him at a later date, like, there still needs to be that grieving time. I don't think it's appropriate that she's like, here, what can I do for you, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But I don't know. It was to me, it was embarrassing that he had to say, hey, remember, I'm married, I'm not going to hook up with you.
Right?
Right.
So it's not like there's the.
Right, if it was
Well,
Monica, you would be like, yeah, there was some bad blood there.
Yeah.
But not that there wasn't some bad blood between the two of them, but not
Right,
enough that they're holding on to it.
Yeah.
Like, in 50 years, I don't expect to see the look between Leslie and Monica, between Laura and Lucy. Yeah. So
work on these L names.
I know, my brain was like, where are you going with this? But yeah, so that was the only part I was disappointed, was that I felt they made her a little too desperate.
Yeah.
Through the whole week, not even just that episode. And that episode, she should have been catering more to Scott
Right.
than to Kevin.
And the second that she was comforting him, she looks over the balcony or over the.
And is looking at
Kevin, and Scott's like, "What are you doing?"
Exactly. Yeah,
You
and
know?
again, embarrassing that the man you're talking to is like, what are you doing? Don't get back into that.
Right.
Kind of thing. So, I don't know. I just expected more from Lucy, and I wasn't impressed with that part. But the rest of it, I loved. I loved that Elizabeth gave props to Bobby for taking care of her after the rape, and that flashback to that, because it put you right back there. I remember that episode.
I forgot how they did a really... I mean, especially at that time. So, like, I watched Grey's Anatomy, too.
Oh, that was so good.
But the show's been on for 15 years.
And
they're just now... I mean, we've had rape victims before, rape survivors. I am really actively working on not using the word victim, because they are survivors.
Yes.
and we'll talk about that later when we talk about the weekly recap.
But you're right. That was the first time Grey's ever showed
did that in
the
depth.
exact, like, what a rape kit actually looks like,
And
where
it makes
General
sense
Hospital had done it.
Mm-hmm. But that was the 90s. That was 20 years ago that happened,
Yes.
So
that was amazing.
Props
they do.
To GH for staying ahead of and starting powerful conversations like that. Like my ultimate favorite part was something. It's like they read our mind last week when
with the mental
Sunny
health.
and
yes.
Laura are sitting in the chapel talking about mental health and the destigmatizing it.
Yep.
I could not have been. I was just like, yes, exactly, and I really hope that they do.
And they didn't even just stick with mental health; like they got into his issues. Like she named it, she called it out, and I was very happy with that.
So, well, good. And I think that we talked about this week too that we had mentioned last week on the Thursday episode that we are going to dedicate different episodes to different things. So last week was the high level recap of interesting things that we may not have known over the past 56 years. And this week we're going to talk about the Baldwin family because really, especially with Gail and Lee passing in the past year and given where we are right now with, Scotty and his character has been around
right,
since
he's the longest, right.
I think that we should do a deep dive into the Baldwin family. So
I agree, yeah.
So that'll be fun.
That will be fun.
Yeah.
And we had already talked about doing the nurses ball episode, and they were
Oh.
all about that this week.
And they announced on Tuesday it's going to be May 16th.
Oh, perfect.
So we have a little bit of time to figure out if we want to do a pre or post, or obviously it's going to be part of the weekly recap.
Right, that'll be what the whole week is.
Who knows? Just stick with us.
Might be a week of nurses ball.
Suggestions.
Yes.
To peer54podcast@gmail.com. Oh, and quick side note: we are now available on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, and other podcast directories.
And we have a Facebook page.
Just look for Peer54 Podcast. And we'll be posting each episode there every week. Oh, and we're on Podbean. That's actually the podcast platform that we use to publish our podcast. So download that. Follow us on iTunes. Please like, share, follow, all that fun stuff to help us, just get some traction on this and everything. So I think is that it for the
I think so. I think they did it really
anniversary?
well.
I think that they did
too. That was a good pulling everyone together.
Yeah, and I liked how nothing seemed overdone.
Right. Everyone got a few minutes. We didn't need to dwell on anything. And I liked that the ending was just the envelopes full of glitter. It wasn't like, this isn't about what are you going to get or what am I going to get or whatever. It was just, she wanted everyone together. And I think they did
Franco
that well.
Throwing it was ad-libbed. I definitely think that was...
And that added to it.
Yeah. Wow, we have a lot to cover with the Baldwin family because Franco's going to wind up being in it.
Mm-hmm. And that was nice between him and Scott. That Scott was like, I finally like getting this dad feels. That was nice.
Yeah. Because it's weird. What do you do when you wind up having a 30-something-year-old son?
Right.
That you just found out about.
Happens to me every week. What are you talking about?
I know. It's especially with Heather Weber. Okay, so we'll just get into that
right.
whole thing.
Well, yeah, let's put all that conversation on hold. It's all part of the Baldwin go back.
Yeah.
So all right, so diving into the week.
Yes.
Dante and Lulu.
So let's tell what we decided we're going to do for the weekly recap. We're going to
I'm sorry.
Favorites. Go ahead. No, you're fine. Just we should let them know. We are going to do each of our top 3 or so-ish, because every week is going to be different. But we're each going to say what our favorite part and what our least favorite part of the week was. So,
okay.
Go ahead.
So, my favorite part from Monday, which was just kind of, we had talked about before how the 3 soaps had run together of All My Children, One Life to Live, and GH, was when, did you hear this too? Whenever, first of all, that they brought Nora
that was
in.
Nice Easter egg. That's not one of my favorites, but I was like, Easter egg.
No, I loved it. First that they brought Nora in to be Kevin's defense attorney, which I know they've used her a few times, but it's still just, it makes me happy to see her because she was one of the characters I liked on One Life to Live. And then
I've never watched any other soap, so I do know other people are on other ones. And
so whenever Dawson was like, oh, I prefer her, not Landview. Landview is One Life to Live.
Pine Valley.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, I knew
didn't
it.
know what that was,
Like,
so I had to Google it, and I was like,
yes.
Yep.
So she had played Frankie Stone on All My Children. So I liked that they like threw that in there, and yeah, the Easter egg. I like that. See, I wouldn't have labeled it because I'm not that smart. But yeah,
well,
no, that was cute.
So I mean, my family's kind of obsessed with that kind of stuff. So like when we watch the Marvel movies or anything like that, like we pick up on little hidden throwbacks to certain things, and so
no, I did. I loved it.
It's actually a term I picked up mostly from my kids, and I was like, "What are you talking about? It's just a hidden thing. Like it's a
it's an Easter egg. You're right. I just
Easter egg.
wouldn't have called it that. Yes.
Yep.
Perfect. We already talked about Tuesday, which was all the mental health, or the anniversary stuff. But I wrote down that I liked that they addressed the mental health, like we already talked about. Other favorite parts. I don't know that I had any other favorite parts. What made me most mad this week was Laura telling Lulu to go take a vacation. I don't understand. Again, I know it's a soap opera, but in real life, when I'm having a hard time dealing with something, the solution is not, go to France for a couple weeks, an undetermined amount of time, take one of your children, not both of them, and just see where it goes.
Yeah.
And the fact that Lulu should definitely have some type of PTSD from being attacked, but she just wants to address it now after Dante left. She didn't say anything to him whenever he was there.
No.
But is feeling
she's
abandoned.
Well, so there is a thing where you can be a stuffer. And so you're stuffing it down, you're not addressing it, you're not, because I actually wrote, so one of my favorite things was Laura telling Lulu, Dante needs his time, and he needs to get the proper treatment, and she needs to knock it off.
Right.
You know? And I think that maybe, I do not regret anything I said last week about her being selfish on that, because that's an ongoing reaction.
Yes.
So that wasn't out of character for her to treat him that way.
Right. But
However,
I feel like part of her
finally broke down. But I agree with you that Laura sending her off to Paris is not, and this is what I was saying during the anniversary recap about the survivors, is that, I said thankful that Lulu is finally addressing the trauma that she endured, but she could really benefit from trauma relief or something. That there are hundreds, if not thousands, of great organizations that help and support survivors of domestic violence, which this was an attempted murder, but I would think that still falls under that category. And
some type of therapy that doesn't require you going to France and only taking one of your children.
But this was really a missed opportunity for them to bring awareness to those types of organizations to support survivors of domestic violence, and giving them the things that they need. And
part of
just
that,
sending to Paris.
Right.
Paris is not going to give her coping skills. It's not going to
That's exactly what I was just going to say.
Her self-esteem and give her the tools that she needs to. I agree that she needs to get away.
Right, a week vacation, a break. I'm not saying that. Like
everybody say, I'm finally getting
everyone.
traction again at the Invader. Come on, knock it off.
Right. No. I just didn't like any of it. No, I understand she needs a break, and go take the kids to a water park for a weekend, or go take a week vacation to Disney World, whatever.
Yeah.
But to say I'm going to France and I'm only taking one kid and I don't know when I'll be back and this is going to fix everything.
15,
Right, exactly. No, I don't know. And Laura saying, "Oh, I'll step in. That's like the grandparents' job." No, it's not. It's not the grandparents' job to be the mom. Like, you need to be here. Charlotte's been through enough. Isn't that why we're saying she has the issues?
Mom. She's taking care of her child.
She is, but I still feel like it's overstepping. I don't know. Personal opinion, I didn't like that was their solution. It should have been something in home. And then she had just said about, hey, for Dante, we'll call up Kevin and he'll help us. And then she sees Kevin and freaks out. Like, which side are you on here, girlfriend?
Right,
like,
right.
You can have issues.
But she might not have known that she was going to react that way. That's the thing about trauma.
Maybe.
And that's the thing about PTSD, is that you do not know how you're going to...
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Don't worry about it. It'll take 2 seconds.
I know, but it makes me feel bad because I sat there and it was on vibrate. What are you doing? Or on silent. All right. Good. Okay, so I just didn't think that it was realistic the way that they were saying to send her away. And I didn't think that, not that the reaction to Kevin wasn't allowed, just the fact that now they're having her, like, she's being more hysterical about Dante leaving and all of that than Maxie was over Nathan dying. Like, I just don't get it. And I know she's not as strong of a person as Maxie, but seriously, like, people get divorced every other day. People need to go away for treatment. Like, things happen.
Yeah.
I guess I just expect more of my GH characters. I want to see them strong. Like,
well, they should have forced her into treatment
right after.
Sooner,
exactly.
That's the thing. Like, you can't force someone to get help that they don't think that they need.
True, but I don't think that then she has the right to act like Dante abandoned her during her time of need when she didn't speak up and say she was having a time of need. And I know it's hard to recognize that you need help all the time, but at the same time, like, maybe she didn't address that at all.
But maybe those were the cracks that were coming out, that was her finally realizing that she needed to get help, because she didn't realize that that's how. She always said that she was unhappy that Dante was gone, but she never used the words abandoned until he came home.
Right.
You know, like, she didn't say Dante's abandoned his family. She didn't walk around bitter 24/7.
Right, right.
Know?
That's just now. Yeah, I guess they're trying to connect it.
I'm only just thinking about this now, like, as we're talking, because I'm like, but maybe that is kind of the, you know, she has the hard shell, and that was the crack that's now leading it to it being completely broken. And
I just hope if they're sending her to Paris, that they're still sending her into some type of treatment. If they bring her back,
hanging out on the
right.
Wow. I took French for 4 years.
If they bring her back in 3 months, and I'm like, oh, she's perfectly fine now, but she's gone through no type of therapy or sought any type of help, I'm going to be angry, because that doesn't go.
Spa and have some champagne.
Right.
And croissants.
Exactly, and that's going to make life all better, especially since Laura is so much into mental health and all that.
Right.
This is not. I don't know. I hope they take the storyline in a more dedicated direction. If she needs to get her help in Paris, I guess that's fine, but she needs to get help somewhere.
Wasn't Laura in a mental? Wasn't that where she was though when she was in her?
Yeah, but she was in the mental hospital. They can't take Rocco and have him in the mental hospital with her.
True. That's true.
So
I guess we'll see.
We will see.
What else?
I think those were my. Oh, and then obviously my favorite was at the very end of Friday, whenever Maxie finally said to Peter, "Oh, I like you."
How cute was he trying to sneak up on her?
Yes,
he was like schoolboy.
I really like him.
Adorable.
I really like him.
I loved it.
And it was about time.
And how cute was Anna playing matchmaker though?
Yes.
She's like,
did you tell her?
I mean,
did you use your words? It was like with my kindergartner. You can't just hit somebody. Use your words. Did you tell them?
Yes.
So that was cute. Yes. Yeah, that made me happy. That was a good, like, Friday. Yay! Can't wait till Monday kind of thing. What were your top picks?
No, I absolutely love that. Because first when Chet was like, do you think I stand a chance? I'm like, how did he not pick up on their chemistry?
Right.
So speaking of Chet real quick, because I had to check this.
Oh, okay, yeah, what happened? Right, we did.
So last week I said that we didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it was both.
Oh, okay.
So,
see, I knew that shouldn't have been the answer.
He basically wound up not being able to play professional, like to go on into a football career because he had a knee injury.
Okay.
So he went into the ROTC and wound up developing an addiction to painkillers while in service.
Oh, okay.
But did you know that the actor that plays Chet is a real-life double amputee Marine vet?
No, I knew he was a vet. I didn't know he was a double amputee.
He's a double amputee.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love when they do that.
I know.
I love when they do it.
And I'm like, why are we not? I mean, he does talk about, so him being so I did a little bit of research on him. From Soap Hub. Yes, soaphub.com is where I got my information. He lost both of his legs when he stepped on an IED in 2012. He has dedicated his life now to becoming a motivational speaker, wants to help other, amputees and other people with physical handicaps, and he wants to one day own a gym, which is great that he's managing the gym.
Oh,
right?
Now I love him even more.
I know. So,
yes, I hope they continue to develop this character more, even though they're not putting him with Maxie right now, because I really like him.
Where's Amy? And where's Felix?
Right.
Who knows?
But Epiphany's back. It's like we can't have all three of them together.
No. Well, obviously they'll be back for the nurse's ball though, because
Yes.
Amy's a singer and so is
yeah.
Felix. So maybe they're off practicing.
Sure.
Sure. So you watched other soaps though.
Mm-hmm.
Do they do stuff like that where they actually bring in like real life causes? And I mean, we have a character who is in real life a double amputee.
Right.
Who, it didn't say whether or not he ever struggled with pain addiction, but I can imagine being a double amputee.
That would be a struggle.
It would have been a concern.
Right.
If anything else, especially given the climate that we're in now, 2012, it wasn't as prevalent as it is now, where the opioid crisis is there. You know, I mean, so he could, and this is total speculation on my part, he either could have possibly overcome it himself or found himself thankful for not having been, because there's no, it can happen to everyone, I mean, it's, you go to the doctor, they give you the stuff, you don't know how they don't know how your body's going to become addicted to it, addiction's a real jerk. That's the official
or it's a real jerk.
Addiction's a real jerk.
The other soaps, well, they had a lot of the same writers, which is why all three combined together. So they did address some things, but I still think the General Hospital keeps up with the storyline more than the other ones did.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, and again, I was younger, so I may not recall everything. And there, sometimes I would skip. My mom didn't let me come home from school and watch 3 hours of soaps every day.
Right.
So I didn't catch all episodes all the time. But they addressed big issues, but then it was like, oh, we found a cure, or oh, we moved on, or that's not what we're talking about this week, kind of thing. And so it never held on.
Like how we talked about Robin.
Yes, I love the way that GH, your problem isn't just solved 2 days later, and now we never talk about it again.
And speaking of which, something that we both talked about this week is Elizabeth and Aiden. And we're not ignoring what's happening there. We just both realized that it is such a sensitive subject, and they haven't really given us any. There's no direction. There is. We're not sure what's going on right now, and so we don't want to, because it is such a sensitive subject. It's going to be what it's going to be.
Yes.
It is what it is, and it's not really something for us to have this type of a discussion on.
Yes.
Because
I did like this week, though, that Elizabeth reached out to Bobby and asked her for some parenting advice, because I was annoyed that it seemed like everything they were going off of was the fact that he liked to bake cupcakes or play with dolls or whatever. Like, those stereotypes didn't make me comfortable, because all of that has nothing to do with each other. So I liked the fact that now she's going for some real answers from someone who had a similar experience, so that she knows no matter, where the storyline develops, she's parenting from the right angle.
Right. And so, like I said, we're not glazing over it. It's just,
we want answers.
But it's going to be what it's going to be. There's nothing for us to say. So it's just, we don't want to disrespect. And we don't want to make speculation when, like you said, the baking and the dolls to us does not indicate that he would be gay or identifying as a female. Boys can bake.
Yes.
Boys can like dolls, same as girls can work on cars, and girls can ride motorcycles like Sam does.
Right, exactly.
So, I mean, if they do use those things to identify him as that, then that's good. I feel that's them disrespecting.
Yes, exactly.
Where we are.
No, I think that this was a good start. She was going where she needed to go to get some information to just kind of see how the storyline's going to play out.
So, I mean, it's just, it is what it is. It's...
Can't wait to find out what happens.
Yeah. So, I had a lot of favorite parts. I think I seriously just love Finn.
Oh, I didn't like that ring, though. I don't like that ring.
Oh.
No.
But when first of all, he's just like this wimpy little brother going to his...
Yes,
and he's like,
I thought of
me
you.
Up.
Well, I thought of you when they started talking about the engagement, and he was like, well, maybe Roxy's going to be my best friend.
I was like, Roxy's back.
If they get her little talks.
Roxy's going to be the ring bearer.
Have Aiden carry the...
But it's going to be Emma and Noah are going to be the flower girl and the ring
we'll get
bearer,
to see Noah.
so they're going to have to come back.
Yeah, see, I was thinking
we don't know what Noah looks like yet.
Right.
Is Noah going to come in being 5?
I bet so. Well, they said Emma was
So
pushing him on the
toddler.
swing. Yeah,
So
I bet
toddler.
about 5.
Yeah.
4 or 5, I bet.
Maybe 2, 3. We need to figure out actually
I
how
bet
old
they
Noah
age it
is,
up.
because I think that he's actually 2 or 3. He might be 3 or 4. I don't know.
No, I think like 3, but I could be wrong.
But maybe Roxy could still
Yes.
be. But yes, thank you. We
For
we know
acknowledging her.
we know Roxy's alive.
They must have heard our podcast.
But isn't Chase is just so adorable. I love their dynamic. I love Finn's awkward interactions with everyone.
Yes.
But he seems to have like these really interesting connections with people,
right. And that's another one that I feel is true to how it would be. Like, if you met a sibling, it would be awkward at first,
right.
and then you have to slowly develop things, and so I like...
But how Chase just, like, assumed he was going to be the best man, and he's like, what are you talking about, Roxy,
It was cute.
Although he kind of called Finn out for not having any guy friends.
Yeah.
And I honestly didn't pick up on Robert, I was going to say Rogers, but it's Tristan Rogers is the actor. I didn't pick up on him. I didn't think that any of the advice that he was giving Finn was out of jealousy. I really actually took it as
yes, I love her.
He's legit concerned,
but
and
not in that way anymore. Yeah, it's
hey,
a mutual respect.
They're Anna and Robert. I mean, they're
one of the best couples, but they don't belong together now.
No, but
that was written the way it should have been written.
Yeah.
So, no, I think everything was said out of love for her as a person, the mother of his child, someone he's been friends with for a lifetime,
him and not wanting him to get hurt.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I did love when Franco tore into Kevin about basically, I'm sorry, Kevin should probably be revoked of his license because Franco's right.
Yes,
he used him for his own personal, and I mean he wasn't doing it as part of the double-blind study. Anything like that. He was doing it to help his brother, which, I mean, that is, like...
No.
I don't know all of the code of ethics of
right,
doctors, but I believe, above all else, they are to do no harm.
Yes.
3 people died.
And why are we holding Kevin, like the whole town, not just the legal side of it, why are we holding Kevin responsible for Ryan's actions, but the whole town didn't hold Lulu responsible for Nathan's death with Maxie?
Ooh.
Though. Like, I understand the legal part. Like, the legal part, yep, that was a whole different thing.
So do you think that Kevin's getting interesting now?
No, not yet.
You're
I'm still not interested. We'll see. We'll see. I'm liking Ava more because whenever they said the whole cut off his hand and now he's dead, she was like, oh, no, I don't think so.
This is how I would do it.
And I was like, yes, that's exactly where my mind went too, Ava. We're on the same page.
Yes.
So that was good. And that Jordan's not letting it drop either. We'll have to see what D.A. Dawson says. But that Jordan's not just like, whatever.
Right.
So I think the storyline of her not being able to go to GH for her dialysis, though, is stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand why it's, like, who cares?
Right. I mean...
Until, like, keep bringing it up. Unless we're getting into, like, the whole healthcare crisis and all of that is our next storyline, I don't understand.
But how would that be...
Why she's gonna get good care at that other hospital. We've seen that other hospital. Our doctors have worked at that other hospital.
Right.
Like, it's no GH, but they'll do your dialysis just fine. I just didn't know why it popped up a couple times, and I was like, why are you talking about this again?
Right. I don't know.
Yeah, so that was weird. But I liked, again, my main point was that I liked that she's
Stella has nothing to do with
they're
dialysis,
like, we thought that you could pull this. A caseworker can't change your insurance. Like,
right.
They don't have anything to do with that.
And she's not directly caring for her, so there should be no conflict.
Right.
Considering all the conflicts that could have possibly happened in that.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and then I had, it's a mixed favorite, not fave.
Okay.
So, Oscar and Joss on the bridge with the lock and him giving her a watch was so sweet.
It was.
And so, just like, and so I think that it's going to happen the way that we were saying that we think it should happen is they're just going to be each other's first loves, and I'm going to wind up crying. Holy crap. I was not expecting it to happen this week, though.
No.
No,
but it was appropriate. I liked that they kept it so appropriate.
Yeah, and it's just going to be...
Although I thought it was funny that they mentioned going to the courthouse and trying to get a marriage
I
license.
know!
Like, did you really think that was going to happen? And then whenever he was like, oh, wait, I have another present for you, and opened up that box, he was like, don't worry, it doesn't go on your ring finger. And I was thinking, oh, me as a 15-year-old girl, I'd have been like, yeah, give me some jewelry, I'll take that. But the digital watch was cute with the 11, and they did. They kept it age appropriate.
Yeah.
for where their relationship is at. But I'll
And
be
where it's
sad
gonna
if he
go.
doesn't wake up
But
for
here's
them
the
to say
thing.
bye one
They
more
did
time.
not even address it on Friday, and that's one of my not faves. I'm like, nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. You know?
Right.
And I thought that Carly taking care of Joss, she's doing it really well.
She is. She is.
You know?
Oh, I liked that they were addressing her being a high-risk pregnancy and
Yes.
needing to get the testing done and all that. And I think it's cute Epiphany's taking care of her because
Yeah.
I love Epiphany.
Yes.
So that was a like.
Epiphany's like the behind-the-scenes mom of everybody. She's like, no. And then just, I used to like Nina, and I know you don't.
I like Nina as the businesswoman, but she just stepmoms have a place, absolutely. But she takes it 10 steps further. Like, she's not only railroading Lulu, but she railroads her husband, too, or her fiance, too. And I just don't feel that that's appropriate.
And I didn't like how Valentine flipped this week. I understand his needing to be a little bit more cautious, but to just totally turn on Willow like that, because she was turning to them as she said, even. He's always been more of a peacemaker. He's never fully agreed with either side.
Right.
He's just like, because I think Valentine despite everything else he has done, is a fantastic father to Charlotte.
Yes.
And he's even acknowledged that he has overindulged her, by...
Right, that was the whole reason that she was going to the public school instead of some fancy school to begin with.
Right, but
was
now
they wanted to make her normal, or
they have to
mainstream.
Understand that at this point in the school year, you don't get that stuff.
No, you don't get that stuff.
It doesn't matter how much money you spend either, which I did not like that. I was just like,
No, I didn't like the way they are educated enough that they should know if they're looking into a special class for her. No matter where you're at, there's a test that needs to be done. It needs to be processed. There's a whole evaluation. We both know this better than anyone.
Right.
So getting things done takes weeks.
Time.
It's not just a phone call to the teacher. I want this. I want that. And
it's mostly based on standardized testing, which I don't see them doing.
Oh, right.
Just throwing that out there. I mean, we're coming up on our own. The high school is going to be doing their standardized testing and everything. That's when when they get those results back, then they'll be like, hey, for the past couple years, she's really knocked it out of the park, and she's performing above grade level.
But if she's cheating on tests, she's not performing above grade level.
Correct.
She's not doing better. We are just indulging her once again, and I don't think that that's the appropriate response.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that Miss Tate was like, nope, we're not even going here.
Right.
Like, to begin with. Like, she
didn't
didn't say it nicely, but
threatened her. It felt more threat.
Right, exactly. Yeah, watch your back, because if he says something again, then but they still wouldn't have grounds to fire her.
But if it were you or I going, would it have the same pull?
Right.
And I don't like that. So I really hope that Willow looks at that too. And I mean, sorry, she's dating a police officer. She's dating a detective.
And they had
a detective.
The advocate there. That advocate should have spoken up at that moment and been like, whoa, I think this is taking
the purpose was
a turn.
To protect her.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's not about how many pencils he donates. It's about the fact that...
Go to Dollar Tree. 20 for $1. I will send some.
Do you want to get pencils printed up with our podcast name and send them to their
send
school?
Them to Willow.
Use these for your students' standardized tests.
Product placement.
To figure out what class Charlotte should actually be in. No, I just don't like Nina's rough approach. I understand that she didn't have children, or she didn't get to raise her quote-unquote daughter at that age, but you don't just step on everyone else's toes to get your way, no matter what. Especially a 10-year-old. Like, if there was a 3-year-old that needed, some accommodations with speech or something and they weren't helping, then yes, you like Mama Bear, heck yeah. But Charlotte's intelligent enough to ask for what she wants, and she's not complaining. Right.
I mean,
exactly. She's not really complaining about feeling picked on in school or being upset, or at least I haven't seen any of those conversations. So why are we being so harsh with Miss Tate just because she pointed out that your kid was bullying Aiden?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. But I like Willow and Chase.
Yes. I liked that she was like, I don't even want to think about this anymore. And he just
he's
grabbed
like,
her and kissed her.
I'm like, you're so cute.
I would take that distraction any day.
It is cute. He does kind of remind me of my husband, though, because he does kind of stuff like that.
Aww.
So I'm sorry.
Aren't they sickeningly sweet?
Hey, he's got his flaws too, but I mean, it's
That was sweet. Your husband is a very sweet guy.
Which we should probably give him a shout out.
Yes, he is the best.
He helps with the editing. He created our logo and so he's a graphic designer. I really lucked out with that because I would not be able to do half the stuff that I do creatively because I drew him a really bad sketch, and he created our logo for us.
Right.
You know, I sent you the picture of it, and you thought that my kid drew it. And I'm like, no, my kids are much more artistically inclined than I am. I'm creative; they can carry it out. So yeah, thanks, babe.
Yes, he's awesome. Thanks, JD.
I was waiting for you to say thanks, babe.
I can say that too.
Well, here's the thing. I legit have always called him babe, though. So like, we're not pulling a Jordan
Oh
thing.
my gosh. Let's do that for a whole episode. See how many times we can call each other babe. And I bet that Jordan still has us beat.
Yeah.
Which makes me mad because the original actress and Curtis did not do that.
They were not babe all
No.
over the place. So one other thing that I thought, and I can't remember if it was this week because I know that we did the quick recap. But I think it was Monday's episode when Anna got the note from Griffin. Was that Monday? Or was that last week? I forgot to talk about it.
Last week, I think.
All right, but that was stupid. Like, he left her a note saying bye. Did you ever watch Sex and the City? Do I watch too much TV?
I have not watched Sex and the City. I feel like I still watch more TV than you. We're just not watching the same shows.
There was a character, Berger. It's his last name, but he's known as Berger.
Okay.
Broke up with Carrie on a Post-it note.
Oh,
and it said,
yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't, don't hate me. And I'm like, Griffin just pulled a Berger on Anna. Like, this is dumb. Like, no.
Yeah. No.
No, I didn't like that.
Yeah, I think we've hit on that like 1,000 times. We don't like how Griffin left. It was not realistic to...
No.
It was disrespectful to all those relationships.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. So.
I wonder if he'll come back for Anna's wedding, though.
Maybe.
Maybe that'll be like
gotta pop the question, though, first.
True.
You know?
I didn't like that ring, though.
I'll take it.
I didn't like it.
I will take it.
Didn't like it. I like the classic. It wasn't classic. Anna's a little different, so she may like it, but
Ring's almost as big as her, though. She's so dainty.
She is.
It's gonna weigh her down.
I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind walking around.
I wonder how he's gonna do it.
I don't know.
For a second, I thought he was gonna do it right then and there. Because what did he say? Like, they won't be the only ones, or something like that. Yeah,
she was like, I think we're witnessing a monumental moment or something like that, and he was like, we won't be the only ones, and I was like, oh, don't do it in the floating rib. Like,
I know.
No, but we'll see. Hopefully, Maxie will interrupt it by being so excited that they finally had the discussion about I like you, and he'll have to plan something a little bit more. I don't see it being huge and extravagant and crazy because that's not their personalities, but we can do a little better than the floating rib.
I'm excited. They cannot wait a month for the nurse's ball.
Oh.
They better not. They better not.
They've had a lot of proposals there, though. I think they'll write something a little more original for the two of them.
I hope so.
And I hope you're right. It's not a whole other month because I can't wait that long.
No. And you had asked me what my favorite parts of the nurse's ball and everything was, and then I remembered that Valentine played the piano and sang. I really liked that. But I can't wait for us to do like the full episode about the nurse's ball because I want to watch some of the old.
Yes. Yeah, I love all the flashbacks.
But I think, is that it for this week?
I think so. I think we covered everything.
So Thursday's episode of the history episode, we're going to do the deep dive of the Baldwin family.
That's going to be so much fun.
Sure to
I feel like I'm going to get a good education.
Join us as we dive into Scotty Baldwin's background, his childhood, why is Scotty the way that he is, Lee and Gail, and all that fun stuff.
I can't wait. So that's it for today. Have a good week.
And we'll meet you at the pier. Bye.
Bye.